Good morning and welcome to Market Opening on our collab show between Business Today and India Today TV. Just after 9, and we're here to get you all the news that you need to kickstart your trading day. Let's take a look at what's making headlines this morning. It could be a gap-up opening for markets with Q2 GDP growth far beyond anyone's imagination. The gift Nifty is up more than 100 points. Asian markets, most of them red, could play spoilsport. The possibility of a ratings upgrade could also bring back a flood of foreign funds. Silver leaps past the 2 lakh rupee per kilo mark for the first time ever, hits a new high in global markets as well. The price has almost doubled this year with the recent surge supported by renewed concerns of tightness in the global market. Gold also crosses the 1,30,000 per 10 gram level. Primary markets on an overdrive with 15 IPOs hitting the street this week. E-commerce platform Meesho leads with a 5,421 crore rupee issue. The SME segment is super active with 12 IPOs. A total of more than 7,000 crore is being raised by companies. Investors are also watching closely with 6 listings on the calendar this week. Government to bring in 2 bills to retire the GST cess on tobacco items. The National Security Cess Bill 2025 will be introduced in Parliament today. Additional levy will also be imposed on tobacco products by amending the Central Excise Act. The new levy will replace the compensation cess under the GST regime. No changes in effective rates. Elon Musk opens up in Nikhil Kamat's podcast, accuses some companies of gaming the H-1B visa systems, says visas should not be about reducing costs but plugging the talent gap. Also says Donald Trump loves tariffs and he tried to unsuccessfully dissuade the president on that front. All right, let's take a look at how markets are set up this morning. And first and foremost, we'll be waiting the reaction to those GDP numbers, kicking it out of the ballpark there with numbers coming in way above anyone's expectation. I think the highest view was about 7.5 when we saw numbers come in at a 6-quarter high of 8.2%. So that's really the big picture for you this morning. In other data, India April to October fiscal deficit up about 10% year on year as well. July to September earnings, of course, will be kicking off as well. So that's some of the macro data we're tracking. But let me welcome in Shell. Shell, good morning. I'm not sure if we'll really be shaken by anything that's happening in Asian markets this morning. I know China's had a bit of a wobble, but it's our own GDP numbers that are front and center, anticipating now a fresh round of brokerage upgrades.
Aabha, good morning first of all. A very warm welcome to everybody in December. This is the start of a Santa rally. This is going to be a gap up, most probably a trend day in which the Nifty opens with a gap of 122 points and then progresses steadily up throughout the day. So a fresh closing high. Stocks like HDFC Bank, L&T, Reliance, M&M, Adani Ports are looking extremely strong on the charts. These are also in fact market leaders, at least the 4 that I've talked about. And you'll see a strong move coming into the digital space, especially the defense sector. Look at Bharat Forge. And of course, the underlying momentum is very strong for pharma as well. So that's the broader structure, a gap up, a trending day, and Nifty closing at its day's high, a record close. Aabha.
I'm surprised you didn't mention auto this morning, Shell. We've been talking about it all week, anticipating December sales numbers. But let me also welcome in Avinash Goraksakar joining us this morning. Avinash, first on the index, of course, your view. And then, yes, we're kickstarting December. So are we poised to see some traction along certain fronts, whether it be on the back of those GDP earnings, rate cut hopes, and, of course, auto sales figures? Avinash, good morning. If you can hear me, wanted to get your view on the setup this morning as well as what you're focused on as we kickstart December.
Yeah, Aabha, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Let me go back across to Avinash in just a moment. Let me come back to really what we're looking at in terms of the trade setup and pull up some of the other pockets of action for you. Auto, of course, is in the news in terms of November auto sales data. We've also got some select counters that are likely to be in the news. M&M, Ashok Leyland. Keep an eye on some of these as well, in particular from the auto pack. Tata Motors, for instance. Tata Motors and M&M have written to the Union Power Minister as well, talking about a proposed exemption for petrol cars under the 909 kilograms mark for the upcoming carbon dioxide emission regulations, saying this would be a setback for the country's EV journey. So that's something that's ongoing. M&M has been in news for other reasons as well. And of course, we'll keep an eye on sales data. Now, when it comes to some of the other pockets, OMCs, remember, on the softening of crude, have also been seeing a good run up and they're continuing to look bullish. So that's on OMCs as well. We've been seeing some buying at lower levels when it comes to IT, metals, telecom. So some of these pockets could continue to see further traction building up as well. Let me see if Avinash can hear us now. And Avinash, I wanted to get your view on the market setup as we kickstart the trading week as well as a fresh month. Okay, I think
Can you please repeat your question,
with the audio there with Avinash, so we'll leave it there. But we're counting down to opening right now, and let's take a look at, what else is going to be in focus. I think last week, Shell, there was a lot of pushback from retail investors talking about how action was still focused on the index, on the heavyweights. So when it comes to this week, while we're still looking at new highs, remember last week we did hit some new highs, but then we were extremely sideways and facing resistance at higher levels. Do you think we're going to manage to break that on the index? And then, of course, we'll talk about wider participation.
None of the mid-cap, small-cap, mid-cap select indices are coming anywhere near scanners that show the momentum is getting into them. Frankly, it's a large-cap led rally, and that's how it is for the moment.
Okay.
Let's see how it goes. There's this earnings discount of about 10-15% in all large caps. Once that's paired as far as price is concerned, then maybe the focus will shift to mid and smalls. Frankly, nothing is coming on a lot of my scanners that I put in as far as mids and smalls are concerned. So we'll have to be satisfied with the blue chips hitting fresh record highs.
All right, let's take a look at the kind of stocks that we have in news as well. We're, of course, watching out for a spate of listings and a spate of IPOs that are coming in at this point of time. Of course, we've got a whole host of individual stocks that will also be in focus. Defense stocks, as Shell mentioned as well, will continue to be in the limelight. And Defense Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh on Friday said the Ministry of Defense will be seeking a 20% rise in defense modernization component for the coming financial year. That's double than the usual 10% rise in previous years. So keep an eye on those defense stocks. They'll continue to be in focus. They also signed letters of offer and acceptance with the US government for sustained support of the Indian Navy's fleet as well, of helicopters and a lot of other things. Approximate value of 80 billion coming in there. So we continue to see very strong momentum in terms of order book building up on defense stocks there. Let's we've seen a lot of action also when it comes to hospitality names, when it's coming to news, real estate counters. So let's take you through some of that. In terms of hospitality, and keep an eye on this because it looks like the government may be considering infrastructure status for the hotel industry, and that's going to be huge. Remember, we're also counting down to budget now. So some of these key reforms will be much awaited and watched by various industry pockets. Hotel industry will definitely be eyeing this in particular. And in addition to that, we're of course constantly getting news on real estate stocks that are planning further outlay as well. We've had a whole host of them in the news last week, this week as well. We've got Lodha developers planning to launch 15 housing projects worth about 140 billion. That's in the second half of the fiscal to expand its business. There you have opening trade, 0.3% higher, 26,288 on the Nifty right now. We were expecting a marginal uptick and that's come in, but it's not a runaway rally on those GDP numbers. It's kind of a steady start, but clearly not too much of an impact of the low numbers that we've seen on factory activity in China. So we did see China's factory activity unexpectedly contracting, missing estimates. Asia's quiet this morning. Limited impact of that on our markets today. But on the GDP numbers, we're also not seeing a major runaway reaction right now. Auto is steady. Remember, it's the start of December. We're expecting very strong, very positive sales momentum coming in on the auto pack. So keep an eye on some of the individual movers there as well. Let's pull up Tata Motors. Let's pull up M&M. Ashok Leyland also, the company's UAE arm has incorporated its wholly owned subsidiary in Saudi Arabia. That one continues to be in the news as well. Let's pull up the Adani counters. Adani Enterprises has said it's going to invest as much as 5 billion in Google's artificial intelligence hub in Vishakhapatnam. Let's pull up Adani Enterprises for you. Up about 0.5% uptick coming in there. Let's also take a look at some of the smaller counters. Actually, before we do that, let's pull up the OMCs and see where they're at on softening crude prices. Any sustained uptick coming in on some of those OMCs. Let's take a closer look there, as well as potentially on some of the telecom stocks where we've also seen action building. OMC is looking strong, or oil and gas index is up about 0.5%. Adani Total's up about 0.5%, and we'll pull up some of those telecom names for you as well after this. Shell, what are you tracking on opening?
Well, Aabha, the gap up is in place and HDFC Bank is the top traded counter. This is a very, very big positive. Remember, this is the heaviest weighted stock that we have. Metals are doing fine. Hindustan Zinc and National Aluminium, which we've pointed out all of last week, they should do well. State Bank in top shape. I see it above, getting into 4 digits maybe this week. And of course, Hero Motors, fresh record high, two-wheeler stock, 1.2% higher. M&M fresh record high, best four-wheeler stock 3780, and of course no stopping Muthoot Finance because of gold, and Federal Bank again a gold play, and in the pharma space Laurus Labs doing immensely well after a fresh record high. This is what I'm watching. Aabha, advanced decline ratio fairly positive for the start, 1800 shares in the green, 625 in the red. This is an easy 3:1.
We're definitely seeing very strong advanced decline ratio this morning. It's looking good in that sense. Remember, markets also trading at really good levels at this point. We're at all-time highs, frankly. 26,289. It looks like 26,300 is just a few minutes away, Shell. There doesn't seem to be any doubt of that coming in. Let's talk about that for a moment, because when we're talking about topping these all-time high levels, what is the next level you're looking to close at?
Aabha, I would imagine 26,350 is within sight because the trend day will start fairly shortly in the first 15-17 minutes of trade. When you have the first candle of the 15 minutes, then institutional guys will sort of move out, retail will move in. So let's hope 26,350 is where we end today, and that's the beginning of a fresh Santa rally on the markets led by frontline counters. Nothing is happening in mids and smalls.
All right, so mid and small cap, I'm afraid retail investors will still have to wait for their turn, even though the IPO street's looking really busy. So those interested in the primary markets have a lot to choose from. Avinash, let me come across to you, and hopefully we've solved that audio issue. What is your take on the markets as we kickstart the last month of the year?
So I think, good morning, Aabha. I think markets are going to be obviously in a uptrend largely because GDP numbers have been much better than what the street expected. And I think now the next trigger for the market would be the December 5 credit policy. I think markets have already built in a 25 basis cut. And I think if that happens, then I think that's going to boost the sentiment further. As Shell mentioned, you're going to see a lot of banks, NBFCs, housing finance companies, obviously doing a pretty kind of rally. And I think it's going to be definitely benefiting the corporate sector, because that means that the fourth quarter numbers also should be reasonably good. In fact, we are looking forward for a very strong Q3 number, because the full impact of GST, rural demand, lower interest rates would obviously get reflected in better corporate performance for the quarter 3 period. So I think net the market should rise. But I think you could see a little sustained kind of rise with a little bit of slower, volatility. But I think net, I think it's also going to be a stock pickers market. As you mentioned, hotels, hospitality, capital goods, autos, auto components are sectors, which are definitely drawing a lot of money from the funds as well as from the ultra HNIs.
All right, great. Sterling and Wilson is in focus. Let's pull that up for you. Remember, they have got an order from Adani Green Energy. So let's pull that one up for you. And that's definitely buzzing in trade. And metals seem to be on a tear this morning across the board, or is it specifically on copper? Is it across the board, Shell, that you're finding this action when it comes to metal majors?
Well, Aabha, one interesting thing about the Nifty Metals Index I'd like to point out, it is well above even Friday's high. So not only is there a gap up, there is also sustained activity on the long side. So it's across the board. Look at Vedanta, 1.5% higher. National Aluminium, we've already marked. On the copper space, Hind Copper is doing pretty well, 2.5% higher. And of course, JSW Steel. So it's ferrous, non-ferrous, aluminium, all up.
Okay, so metals across the board. Avinash, let's get your take here, because we've been seeing that steady rise. We've been seeing it on precious metals too, and that's continuing. They're on fire. And metals across the board, aluminium, copper, everything is moving this morning.
So I think metals definitely look to be in a much better shape. I think domestic demand is strong, and I think global metal prices, especially for aluminum, have started rising. So I think in that perspective, Hindalco definitely looks interesting. I think my sense is that the third quarter and the fourth quarter could possibly see some improvement. Of course, they had a fire in their plant, so there could be a little bit of pressure on their margins, at least for the Q3. We believe that, once these one-off things are taken out, I think Hindalco could be a good bet. The other ferrous counters which we are positive are typically Tata Steel and Hindustan Zinc. These companies have been doing pretty well. Even on the copper side, Hindustan Copper could be looked upon, because copper prices have also started rising quite sharply. So net, I think it could be a good market for positional traders going forward.
Anything in the pharma pack? Avinash, Natco is up again today, up about 3%. So I'm pulling it up just because we've seen some of these individual movers come up from behind. Do you feel that this could be a dark horse?
Yeah, I think my sense is that, I think they're a large player in the US market, and I think the stock has risen quite admirably. So Natco definitely categorizes as a small US-based focused kind of pharma company from India. And I think other larger names could be Lupin, could be Torrent Pharma. We have been telling our clients to, do a little bit of nimbling in the pharma side, because we feel that once the US-India trade deal is finalized, which is expected very soon, you could expect a very strong run-up on the pharma side, specifically for companies which have got a large exposure on the US market. So I think Lupin and Natco Pharma could definitely be acquired, but from a slightly medium to long-term kind of time frame.
Let's pull up those Adani counters again. Adani Green is lower at this point of time with very heavy volumes. And Sterling and Wilson on the back of that order is moving up 4-5%. That's the one that's really looking good and very high on volumes as well this morning. Shell, what's on your radar?
Well, Aabha, I think the first 15 minutes of selling pressure has been absorbed, which essentially means that all those guys who took a long punt on the market on Friday in anticipation of good GDP numbers, that selling has been absorbed. Now 26,300 looks to be doing pretty well. So banks are doing extremely well. Bank of Baroda and Bank of India is something that is on my radar, as also Canara Bank. A bit of profit booking in AU Bank and Axis Bank in early trades, but nothing to be worried about. I'll keep an eye out on State Bank of India and of course Hindustan Zinc. Remember, Hindustan Zinc is the biggest producer of silver in India, which is rocketing. So Hindustan Zinc should be watched on the long side. I think 500 is what we've already seen. Avinash here would be better placed to give us an idea.
Clear.
Okay, I've lost Avinash's audio there. We'll come back to him in a moment. And lots of IPOs. Let me just take you through that. We've got MV Electrosystems, Equus, Vidya Wires, Misho, Prism, for instance, Sudeep Pharma. So many IPOs and listings this week, so lots to track there. That's also keeping the markets on their toes. And Bajaj Auto sales numbers, let's take a look at them. Coming in, November sales 4,53 units. That's up 8% year on year. Bajaj Auto November two-wheeler sales also up 3% year on year. Total CV sales up 37%. That's a big number coming in. 37% year on year. So we've got overall sales for November up about 8%. Two-wheelers up about 3%, and CV sales up about 37% for Bajaj Auto. Those are year-on-year numbers coming in. Let's pull up the stock for you, see how it's reacting to the November sales numbers. And remember, we were expecting a boost, continuing run-up post the GST reforms, as well as, of course, the impending rate cuts on some of these consumer names. Let's take a look at how some of the traction is building up on a Bajaj in particular. And let's pull up the stock for you as well. And we've seen some amount of traction building up on two-wheeler hopes too, but it's not actually the two-wheeler numbers that are driving the show at the moment. It's more the CV numbers. Not too much move on the stock just as yet, Shell, but clearly momentum when it comes to auto is clearly on.
Yes, Aabha, I would imagine that you will see a lot of activity on Mahindra and Mahindra, Maruti in particular. Let the numbers come. Hero Motors has already hit a record high. So 4 stocks in the auto space which should demand your attention: M&M, Hero Motors, Maruti, Ashok Leyland, and maybe, just maybe, Eicher Motors. So these are the ones that I'm looking at because the charts are phenomenally strong.
Okay, that's almost all of them, Shell. But if you had to narrow it down to at least 2, which 2 would it be?
Okay, Maruti and Hero Motors.
All right, taking a clear view there on some of the strategy going forward. Hero has been in the news for a lot of its new upcoming launches, as has Maruti. In fact, a spate that's planned for the new year. We'll perhaps take a deeper dive into some of those auto counters on the upcoming show. But Hero right now is up about 1% or so in trade as we await the latest numbers there as well. Now, Elon Musk tried to dissuade Donald Trump from imposing tariffs, but failed. That's what the world's richest man, worth $450 billion, told Nikhil Kamath in a podcast. He also accused outsourcing companies of gaming the H-1B visa system and said that the visa should not be used to cut costs, but bridge the talent gap. Listen in.
At least a perception that somehow their jobs are being taken by talented people from other countries. I don't know how real that is. My direct observation is that there's always a scarcity of talented people. So, from my standpoint, I'm like, we have a lot of difficulty finding enough talented people to get these difficult tasks done, and so more talented people would be good. But I guess some companies out there, it's sort of they're making it more of a cost thing, where it's like, okay, if they can employ someone for a fraction of the cost of an American citizen, then I guess these other companies would hire people, just to save costs. But at my companies, the issue is we just are trying to get the most talented people in the world. So, and we pay way above average. So I can't. So that's not my experience, but that's what a lot of people do complain about. And I think there's been some misuse of the H-1B program. It's certainly it would be accurate to say that there's like some of the outsourcing companies have kind of gamed the system on the H-1B front, and we need to stop the gaming of the system. But I'm certainly not in the school of thought that we should shut down the H-1B program. That's which some on the right are. I think they don't realize that would actually be very bad.
You've always been against tariffs, but
yeah, I mean, I think there's generally free trade is is more efficient. Tariffs tend to create distortions in markets, and generally, like, you think about any given thing. So, like, would you want tariffs between you and everyone else at an individual level? That would make life very difficult. Would you want tariffs between each city? No, that would be very annoying. Would you want tariffs between each state within the United States? Like, no, that would be disastrous for the economy. So then why do you want tariffs between countries?
I agree.
Yeah.
How do you think? How do you think this plays out? What happens next?
What, with tariffs or what? I mean, the president has made it clear he loves tariffs. I've tried to dissuade him from this point of view, but unsuccessfully.
All right, and in other global news, remember President Putin is also visiting India this week. There'll be discussions of India purchasing Russian fighter jets and a missile defense shield. So we'll, of course, be bringing you any updates on that front. And we'll leave you with the latest look at silver as well. Silver has crossed the 2 lakh mark and it's just spiraling. The global silver surge continuing. And look at the kind of rates that we're seeing on the COMEX overnight. Gold prices are also seeing that kind of an uptick as well. But silver is definitely shooting ahead and is on fire right now. Avinash, closing comments from you as we eye now some amount of news when it comes to the trade deal or the Fed rate cut. All right, Avinash left us, but yes, the growth numbers have been intact when it comes to GDP figures. The government is reinforcing that we're on track to achieve steady momentum. We'll now be eyeing, of course, the latest news from the RBI as well as the Fed. So stay tuned. Lots more coming up. Thanks for watching.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We begin a fresh week, a fresh month on a very strong note. Rising GDP, well beyond anybody's expectations, has sparked a fresh rally on Dalal Street. The Nifty is 86 points higher with a gap up at a fresh record high. You have the bank index 228 points higher. IT index 115 points higher, and taking it away as far as the entire sectoral performance is concerned, it's the metals index. A very, very strong show across the board. Advanced decline ratios are improving with every passing minute. Now 1900 shares are in the green versus 700 in the red. We tracked 19 indices for you, all of them in top shape, and today is going to be a data heavy day. You will have lots of data coming in from monthly sales numbers for auto sales, for cement sales, for steel sales for the month of November, and more importantly the GST number after the rejig that happened as far as GST rates are concerned. So it's going to be a very hectic day for markets, and it looks like that this gap up is going to be sustained. Let's get our lady luck in. Vaishali Parekh joins us from Prabhudas Leeladhar. Namaste and a very warm welcome to you, Vaishali. How do you see the Nifty at current levels and your two top picks?
Very good morning. Yes, it's a good day. We have begun very well. So Nifty, we need to see, we saw a good strong gap up opening. So now above 26,350, we are looking at a weekly range of 26,600 levels, and now we elevate our support levels to 26,000. And Bank Nifty pretty much done with the target 60,000, 60,200. So I guess for Nifty to still show further up move, we need to see participation from other sectors as well. So pharma sector, metal of course is doing very well. Auto is showing you round of momentum. So overall it's a positive bias. And now what I'm looking at is one of the stocks is BSC, which has given a breakout. Current market price is 2941. We still need this stock to move about 3030 to look for an extended target of 3200. So this is one of the stocks, and Kotak, which has also shown a lot of strength. So I think this is another stock that I would like to look into for a target of 2300.
Okay, I'd just like to mark the Bank Nifty again. Thank you, Vaishali, for reminding me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is again a very, very major milestone. This is a digit change on the leftmost side. Now 60,000 fresh record high. Remember, Bank Nifty has outperformed the Sensex and the Nifty by a margin of 100%. Bank Nifty is up 18% year to date. the Nifty up just 11%. And this is a stunning move that's come on the back of both the private sector banks as also the public sector banks, in particular the public sector banks, but the weightage is way higher for the private sector banks such as HDFC Bank, ICICI, Axis, to name a few. Kotak is something that Vaishali has marked. So a milestone for Indian markets, a digit change on the leftmost number for Bank of India, and of course a record high both on the Nifty and Nifty Bank. So this is something that I'd like to highlight in trade. In terms of auto stocks, Vaishali, what catches your fancy?
I would say, most of the stocks have seen a good run up, but technically still well placed is Bajaj Auto. So I'm looking at Bajaj Auto from here on. The stock should participate as well. We are seeing this consolidation, long-term consolidation between 8,800 to 9,200 levels. So I would look at this stock for clarity. Once we see the stock moving above 9,300, this can give a trigger a further upside move.
Okay. What are the charts of Bharat Forge telling you?
I like Bharat Forge because this stock too has a potential of going further on towards 1500. So now I think we had recommended this stock with 1380 as support, but now I think 1400 can be taken as a support, and we would look forward to a target of 1500.
Okay, 9:37, ladies and gentlemen. 26,300 is on the charts as far as the Nifty is concerned. Remember, the first 20-25 minutes of trade are over. It essentially means all those who were smart enough to go long on the Nifty on Friday, or were unfortunate enough to short the index, have now covered their shorts and their long positions, either booked a loss or booked a profit, and now the index is well on its way to sort of trend a little higher. So that's how the market is. Let me just mark some very important stocks as far as the gaining indices are concerned. JM Financial 6.5% higher at 154. Natco Pharma in top shape, 4.5% higher, 917.25. Tejas Networks, MRPL, Endurance and Capri Global. These are the top 7-8 gainers as far as the mid-cap space is concerned in NSE 500. Vaishali, what are you observing?
At MRPL, you are asking me about MRPL?
No, the broader market, anything at all that catches your fancy?
I think yes, overall, frankly, on Friday's close, what we saw, there was good pickup coming in textile stocks. So we saw good run up coming in Wellspun Living. So this is one stock which is showing strength. So I would still look at the other stocks like Himmat Singha Seri, Gokuldas. They look pretty good. And that while you were asking me about auto index also, I think TVS Motors also is ready to get into a new round of momentum. We are seeing a near-term resistance at 3,700. Once we see clarity of the stock moving higher, this could go further on to higher levels as 3,800 to 4,000. And another stock which is technically well placed is Paytm. So that is one stock which is showing good upward move, and maybe it's ready for a breakout for new high levels.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, almost 9:40. All is well in the world of stocks as far as the Lal Street is concerned. Two stocks that Vaishali mentioned right in the beginning. BSE, now again trying to reclaim its previous glory. Kotak Mahindra Bank 2149, 2.6% higher. You have from the auto space, Hero Motors dominating the proceedings, and also clicking on the heels of BSE is Angel One at about 27.75. Any volume buzzers that might be catching our attention? Let me just look at them. Well, you have Poonawalla Finance, so it's almost an NBFC kind of a show. 1.8% higher, 489, very strong volumes. Vaishali, I'll request you to keep the chart ready on Poonawalla Finance. 18.9 lakh shares traded, 1.6 times the 5-day average. Remember, you are just in the 10-15 minutes of trade, so that's really substantial. JK Tyre 2.7% higher, 459. What are these two stocks telling you on the charts, Vaishali? JK Tyre and of course Poonawalla Finance.
Yeah, so Poonawalla actually it was on our radar right from last week. Long-term trend intact. We saw then a good bottom formation at 460 levels. Currently at 489. We need to see the stock sustaining above 500 levels to look for higher targets of 550, 560. So, well, currently it is a positive view, but it needs to move past 500 levels. And talking about JK Tires too, that is also looking quite attractive at these levels. We are seeing a potential upside further on coming in this because today's candle, it's showing a good bullish up move. I think the near-term hurdle could be at around 475, 480 levels. Once we see this stock moving higher, this could show us as a positional trade going towards perhaps even 550, 600 levels.
Getting in Aabha.
All right. We're looking at, of course, some of those indices with Vaishali, and we also talked about some of those auto numbers. Vaishali, I think, trending at some of these new highs, though the attention's also moving to where else we could see some amount of value buying coming in, stocks that perhaps are at lower levels and could now be catching up, whether it's from, let's say, IT, whether we see that perhaps in some of the telecom names and any other pockets as well that you think of. Would you be able to spot any such areas in the market that are looking attractive to you?
Hi, Aabha. Good morning. Yeah, so right now the stock on my radar, one is actually, of course, if you talk about the auto sector, do not miss Uno Minda. That's showing strength. It's regained its momentum again. So this is one of the stocks. TVS Motors is also looking very positive, and I'll await Bajaj Auto crossing 9300. That could trigger further higher potentials. So these are the stocks to my liking currently in auto sector. And besides that, if there's one more stock that I'm looking at is Adani Port. So Adani Port also showing a lot of strength. I think this in all likelihood currently at 1545, we are looking at a trading target of 1600 levels from here on. So this is another stock which I do like at these levels.
All right, Adani counters, in fact, are looking interesting. Let's pull up some of them because we are seeing some amount of traction today. There's been recent, reinvestment or reinfusion of funds from private equity. Adani Ports is today up about 2%. We've seen Adani Enterprises in the news for various reasons up about 0.7% as well. Lots of action there. I want to pull up Sterling and Wilson because that's also seen a big move on the back of an order from Adani Green coming in. So that is also in action this morning. Few brokerage views on GAIL coming in, both from CLSA and HSBC. So let's pull up GAIL as well. Sterling seems to have cooled off just a touch after that initial reaction. GAIL not really reacting despite a couple of buy ratings coming in with targets of 200 and 235 on the counter. Meanwhile, Jeffries on telecom also saying that it's positive, particularly on Bharti Airtel. So let's pull up Bharti. Let's just see how it's doing today so far. Bharti for you up about 0.5%. It's looking steady. What about metals, Vaishali? Because we're seeing a lot of traction across the board on metal counters once again.
Yes, so as a disclaimer, we have recommended Vedanta. I think this stock also opened with a lot of strength. So I think this is poised to go towards 560, 580 levels from here on. So Vedanta would become a buy at every decline. Now, if one has to buy fresh, I would look at 510 as the support level. So one needs to buy in decline.
Okay.
9:44, ladies and gentlemen. The first half an hour of markets is with us. 26,300 is proving to be a resistance level for the moment. Let's see how the markets negotiate. But Aabha, bringing you into the loop, there is a fresh digit change on Bank Nifty, now in the 60,000 range. As I was pointing out earlier, Bank Nifty has risen 17% year to date as far as 2025 is concerned, nearly twice that of the Sensex. So that's something that's new. And before we began conversation with Vaishali, she had pointed out that Kotak Bank could be the stock of the day. Anything else in the market of banks catches your fancy, Vaishali, especially the PSU setup?
Well, PSU, we are seeing good momentum coming in, even in fact Indian Bank, but I would not be, keen on buying fresh right now, but to those holding Bank of Baroda, SBI, that could be a hold with a stop loss.
Tracking, let's talk about that because everyone's curious to see how much further we can go and how quickly. Where are we going to end December on? Shali, what are the levels you see us ending the year on?
Okay, so for this week, I would say we are looking at 26,000 as support and 26,600 as the next target resistance. But the way market is showing strength, I would be very optimistic this going even further high.
Okay, holding forward there. We've seen a whole host of those indices move, of course, and I know you've talked about it a little bit with Shell when it comes to the capital market play and so forth. What about the commodity play as well, given what we've been seeing on some of the metal names and otherwise? MCX, for instance, where else are you seeing perhaps some kind of index traction?
Well, I would actually not be so positive on MCX now because technically I think the target of 10,000, 10,500 is really done with. But overall, individually, if you ask me, I'm looking at each and every metal and they are still continuing to show strength. So whether it is Nalco, whether it is Vedanta, as we spoke, Hindustan Zinc, they all show a lot of promise even from here on. In fact, Jindal Steel and Power, they are all in an uptrend. So overall, metal index still shows a potential of further high.
All right, Vaishali, thanks so much for joining us. Now, the new season of BT Golf 25-26 teed off in Hyderabad this weekend. They even brought together top business leaders, celebrities at Boulder Hills Golf and Country Club for an action-packed season opener. Cricket legend Mohammad Azharuddin was the chief guest, with Telugu actor Manju Manoj adding star power to the tournament.
A cool, crisp Hyderabad morning welcomed golfers to the picturesque Boulder Hills Golf and Country Club as the BT Golf 25-26 season teed off right on time. The lush fairways and serene landscape offered perfect conditions for the opening leg of India's most distinguished corporate golf tournament. With a legacy of 25 years, BT Golf has evolved into a premier leadership and corporate networking platform. This year's inaugural edition saw participation from CXOs, industry captains, founders, investors, and senior leadership teams from India's most influential companies, turning the greens into a high-powered arena of business and sport. The tournament offered a relaxed space for meaningful conversations and connections.
Thanks to Business Today for doing this tournament. I've seen you guys do it throughout thick and thin for many years, so keep it going. We love this tournament.
It's a great experience, amazing weather, and good host by the BT. We're enjoying playing with you all.
I appreciate BT doing this across the country, and it's a phenomenal tournament, bringing all the corporate leaders together and having fun and enjoying the game.
Adding prestige to the event, Chief Guest Mohammad Azharuddin, former Indian cricket captain, presented the trophies and praised BT Golf for bringing together some of India's most influential business leaders through the spirit of the sport. Manju Manoj, renowned Telugu film actor, joined him as the guest of honor.
I'm very happy that the BT Today Golf Tournament, now I think this is the 26th year they are holding this event, and I am very happy to be a part of this, and I would like to thank the the BT for calling me here today, and I would like to congratulate the winners for winning this tournament today.
I'm really happy and honored to be with such distinguished guests and all talented people here. Thank you so much for having me here, the Business Today and India Today. And today, this is the 26th year event, and I'm wishing them all the very best.
We have a very rare celebration occasion today. There is a hole-in-one that has happened at the BT Golf. So it's a historic moment at BT Golf. And we are so proud and honored to launch season 26 at Hyderabad. And we look forward to our rest of the tournament this year across 6 other cities.
The winners took home more than just the coveted prizes. For them, it was a day of fun in the sun, of building relationships and forging stronger networks. The Hyderabad leg marked a powerful start to the new season. From November 2025 to March 2026, BT Golf will travel across 7 major metros, creating a vibrant environment for networking, collaboration and leadership dialogue. Preparations are already unfolding for the next event at the Panchkula Golf Club in Chandigarh. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
One of our guests, Dr. N.R.N. Reddy, Managing Director of Jagruti Group, joining us here from the fairways of Hyderabad. Sir, many thanks. How has the game been so far, and have you been able to stick to your goals for the day?
Yeah, game